get through it, make sure everything's cool. But like, here's a set of those heads off. A set of these finished, ready to go with titanium valves and packed springs, and you know the port's all done like we do them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's $6,500 for a set of these, and you know they're high money. They don't make very many of them.
Okay.
You know, but these heads will support 250, 260 rear wheel horsepower all day long. You know, you get them on a big motor, they'll make the power.
What's the name of them?
These are S&S Pro stock heads.
S&S Pro.
These are what's on that bike, and then I got another set of them back here on these bikes. And then, tell you what, let me find a barrel. I'll show you something cool you can put on there.
So you guys are honing out their own heads and everything right here?
Oh yeah, yeah. We do. Yeah. We just get the raw heads in.
Okay.
And we completely do everything here from scratch. I even have a frame table. We do our own chassis modifications here.
Okay.
We do our own electronics, our own wiring harnesses.
Whoa.
We have our own computers for fuel injection.
Yeah.
I build the manifolds and the runners. We build the engines from scratch. Everything's done right here. We don't send anything out. It's all under one roof.
Yes, sir.
But here's a pretty good. Here's a 103-inch twin cam cylinder.
Okay.
And this is what's on our racing engines.
Good Lord, have mercy.
So give your peeps out there
yes,
an idea. This is about 3 7/8 inch bore. This is 4/800. This is almost an inch bigger.
Yeah.
So, and I got some pistons and stuff in the back.
Okay.
Look at. But,
that's the difference.
Yeah, we got five different sizes and types of boring machines, all sorts of honing equipment for honing cylinders and rebuilding rods and fitting pins and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Surfacing, decking machines, electronic crankshaft balancer. A lot of old lathes and mills. You know, some of these old machines, I got machines that are almost 100 years old.
Okay.
But they do like one or two things perfect.
Okay.
So we still use them.
Yeah.
You know. So,
man.
Yeah, and then back up here. Oh, this is there's a 30 cylinder head machine, and this cuts the seats in the heads.
Okay.
And NHRA and the NASCAR boys and a lot of them are still using this machine, man. It's an excellent machine for the kind of work we do. Repeats we developed our own seat angles that works good for us and our kind of work, and we can repeat them every time perfectly with this machine. Get the valves working right, you know.
What crank is that over there? I see this right here. Yeah.
These, here you get a pretty good look. This is the inside of an S&S cast Pro stock engine. And this is one of the older cranks that we use that has an oversized crank pin that actually bolts together. And of course, aluminum 8.5-inch connecting rods. And of course, this is a Sportster. Transmission is going to go in back here. So this motor right now is just in the stage where we just kind of mock everything up and then half case it and check all the clearances. And this is actually a spare for Tim Grindle, the Outlaw Street National Record holder. This is his spare engine.
On a Sportster?
Yeah. Yeah, 144-inch Sportster. Now I have this same engine in my bike. I have the same engine in my bike, but I saw the back of the transmission off and machined it to fit in an FXR. So I'll show you that in here.
Okay.
But I'm talking about this Outlaw Street. That's the AMRA, American Motorcycle Racing Association.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and what are these? Are the or anything special about
those? Those are the pistons that we took out. Those are a little smaller. These are the actual pistons that are going in this engine.
Okay.
Terry Stewart from Shaker Products does these for us through CP, and you see that's our own proprietary pistons. Got our name on it. It's 4/800 bore. So we run these motors between 15 and 16 to 1 compression, and then we run 120 octane Renegade oxygenated Ratman K16 fuel with them.
Good Lord, how much?
We burn that stuff up out the drum.
So this is, do you take novice builds? Like, you know,
Sure.
if I, like you said, just had a 103, and I just wanted it dependable and rough and tough, and to be able to shock and amaze.
This is the high end of what we're doing. This is our plan. You know? But yeah, you know, the biggest part of our business is we do dealer support and shop support.
Okay.
Any guys out there got shops and they want our head work, or they get jammed up and need us to fix something for them, we do a lot of shop support. We do a lot of walk-in work too. Guys come from here from all over the world to get street engines built. Okay. So we do a lot of street engine work. 103s, Sportster 1200 kits. We'll even do some antique stuff. We do some shovel heads and pans, and we do broken fin repair on antique motorcycles. You know, so we can fix that, and you can't even tell they've been broke. So we do a lot of that work, a lot of custom welding and that sort of thing.
Okay.
You get into this drag racing, you got to be able to do it all. This is my own race room back here. This is all my stuff. It's a little disorganized, but we've been really busy. This is my bike here, and this is the Sportster 4-cam that we hacked off the transmission and remachined everything, and it fits. You can see right in here, it fits perfectly with an FXR transmission. I can take this motor out and I can put an Evo back in there. I can put a twin cam with an Evo mount in it, or shovel head, whatever I want. And this is a 4-cam. This is the only one out there like this that we know of right now.
So when you say, because the average motor is a twin cam, this is a 4-cam.
This is a 4-cam. It's a Sportster.
Yeah.
And we got rid of the transmission and made it fit this. This is 144 inch.
Good Lord have mercy.
Yeah. 144 inches.
And I see those are B2 heads as well?
No, these are Pro Stock heads.
Pro Stock heads.
These are Pro Stock heads, dual spark plugs. This bike's just going back together now. Of course, it's got our fuel injection system in it.
The one
Yeah, the one we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And this particular bike, I built this entire bike myself by hand. The frame, we started with just basic castings and machined everything. The motor plates, you know, and how we tie everything together. The swing arm, the fender struts, the intake manifold, and all. This is a finished intake, by the way.
Okay,
it doesn't have the injectors in, but that's what they look like when they're all done. And then we got some sensors in the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one has this one been ran yet?
Oh yeah, I ran 849, 161 with this last year, but we didn't back it up, so we didn't get the record. But we have been in the 840s.
When you say back it up, what does that mean?
Well, when we go to a national race with the AMRA, if there's national records established. Okay. If you run in qualifying or in the race, if you run under the national record, you have to back it up with another run within 1%. Okay. To make the backup official, to make the record official. Okay. So I have 17 national records from over the years in the AMRA Outlaw Street. So. Then stuff like this belt drive, you know, this is all handmade here. Of course, this is a Primo plate, I believe. Okay. But all this outboard support stuff, you know, the clutch goes in here and rides on here. This is all handmade. It's actually very old. It's been raced and beat on for years. But yeah, it's holding up very well. It works good. Made our own chain guard. These links here are something that are our own version of this. You might see these on FXRs from years ago when they used to. The swing arm's supposed to hook to the back of the transmission here, and everything's on rubber, and it would start moving and everything. So guys used to take links and go from the swing arm up to the transmission axle to stiffen everything up. Well, now I hang my swing arm off the back of the frame, and the only thing this is a motor mount. This eliminates all that and goes in here. But what we use these links for is to, number one, stiffen the chassis. There's so much torque the first 300 feet or so, it actually tries to pull the swing arm over and it'll start steering the bike for you. Whoa. So this helps with that, and we can also preload these. Okay. And I can tweak the back of the bike left or right with these links and help it leave nice and straight. Okay. You know.
And that would take you. Is that to tweak that though? Is that something you can do right there at the track, or you
Absolutely,
have to bring it?
Yeah. All we got to do is crack these nuts loose, and we can turn this. Okay. And we can tweak it, no problem. Matter of fact, that's how we do it.
What chain do you use?
I run Sabakis.
Sabakis?
Yeah, I always had good
Everybody
luck
always talking about EK. What is it? EK
The EK DRZ and DR chains are very good chains also.
Okay.
I just always ran Sabaki, so that's what we run. But
Now let me ask you this.
EKs are
This is a
good
question that's always been a puzzle. Do chains stretch?
Yes.
They do.
But not as much as people think. In my experience, especially with this stuff, you know, we run 70-75 aluminum sprockets.
Okay.
And even with steel sprockets. Most people, when they put a new chain on, will run it and it'll immediately come loose within a few miles or a couple passes on the drag strip. But that's not really the chain stretching as much as it is the new chain wearing into the sprockets.
Okay.
Because they don't fit the sprockets just perfect. There's always tolerance and, you know, that sort of thing. So, you know, once they do take a set where they seat into the sprockets nice and you give them that first initial jerk, man, it goes good. I could go a whole weekend of racing with this thing. And
so once you stretch it the first time, then you tighten it down. It should not be stretching anymore.
They usually hang in there pretty good. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. What that mostly is not stretching, but I feel that it's because we've actually mic'd the sprocket diameters.
Okay.
And we see changes there and changes in the tooth pitch when a new chain wears in. So
okay.
I feel that it's as much as the sprocket's wearing to the chain as it is the chain stretching.
Okay.
So.
Now this other one over here, this is
my girl's bike. This is Stacy Bortz's bike. She's in the drag racing world, she's fastest girl in the world on a street legal Harley.
Okay.
Of course, this bike's not quite
disarray.
Finished yet. We got to put a fender on it, and we'll get ready for Louisiana here in a couple weeks.
Okay.
But this has a single bore fuel injection on it.
Okay.
This is an Evo. She's having a new we're building her new Pro Stock engine right now, so this is her last year's motor.
Okay.
But this has single bore fuel injection. This is a throttle body off a Mustang Cobra and 70 millimeter.
Dang it.
And I don't know if you can light that up. You want to look down in there.
Yeah.
This is all hand, we did all this.
Okay. Ooh, wide open. Good Lord, yeah.
So, Stacy's been 886, 153 on this bike. And she typically has a 139 or 140 60 foot on it.
Okay. With
no wheelie bar. And very, very good rider. This one here, we started last year testing the Baker Torque Box 5-speed transmission.
Okay.
And we ran it last year, and we learned a little bit about it, and we sent it back to Burt Baker, and he made some changes for us and freshened it up, and now it's back in here again for this year again. And we're looking to make some gains. That transmission alone was worth about 4 horsepower on this bike.
Okay.
Because what they did with the torque box is they moved the shafts further apart so the gear diameters can be bigger.
Okay.
And when you do that in a transmission, they're stronger just because the tooth load isn't as big. So the larger the gear diameter, the less work it has to do. So with less tooth load, there's less friction, parasitic loss. And I never thought a big transmission like that would give us power. We gained 4 horsepower. And then we also have multiple gear ratios we can select. So we were able to pick the gear ratio